Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Rocks with Me. I'm your host, Roxy, and as a reminder, you are resilient, you are remarkable, and if you haven't heard it this week, I'm telling you now, I am proud of you. Thank you so much for tuning in week after week. And I appreciate you guys always listening and the feedback you guys gave me from the guests that I've been bringing on. Just last week, it was Monique, who is the founder of Abigail Barasa Foundation, which she is amazing, to other guests, such as my first guest, which was Vero Estrada, the life coach, to even her sister, Patricia Estrada, and even a good friend of mine, Renessa, who also came on, who is the owner of Sugar and Spike Boutique. Wait, not boutique. It's Boutique. She always corrects me on that too. And I know she's tuning in, so I corrected myself this time. This episode was one or two of the listener's choice. The first listener's choice was the engagement story with the fiance, which you all voted, and that premiered 2 weeks ago, I believe. So it's out on Spotify, YouTube, and all major podcast platforms for you all to tune in on my engagement story with special guest, of course, the fiance. This episode, we're going to be covering concert talk, music. Music is like my love language, music. I've been moving my body since I was in my mom's womb, probably. I love dancing. I can't sing for the life of me. I think I've mentioned this already. My singing voice, I don't have one, but my dancing and my moves, I definitely can keep a rhythm. Now, what inspired me to do this is the release of Taylor Swift's Eras Tour movie that she released. I ended up going to view it on the day it came out, which was the 13th. And I remember that because that's Taylor Swift's number, which is also my little sister's favorite number because her and Taylor Swift were born on the same day. So it was my mom, my two sisters, and I that went to go see this concert movie. And honestly, I got to give it up to Taylor Swift because Homegirl could put on a performance because legit that movie was 3 hours, maybe more long. And I was mentally prepared going into it thinking, okay, this movie is going to be more than 3 hours. I got to mentally prepare myself to make sure because I'm going to be sitting throughout the whole thing, and I'm not a Swiftie. My sisters, I guess, you could call them Swifties. But me personally, I'm not a Swiftie. I know a couple of her songs, but a couple of her old songs, like Teardrops on My Guitar, legit at the end of the concert movie, I turned to my sister and I was like, when was she going to play Teardrops on My Guitar? Because that's one of my favorites of hers. So I'm more into the country version of the country era or whatever of Taylor Swift. But she is still going strong after all these years. So shout out to her. And she's a great performer, her wardrobe dresses and everything. But for me, I have to admit that I did fall asleep through her movie because it legit was a long one. Like I said, it was over 3 hours, and we went to a late showing, which it ended up ending at 1 o'clock in the morning. And if you all know me, I go to sleep by 8. Even last night, I fell asleep at 7 p.m. Although I'm a morning person, I'm also let's go to bed. I'm done with the day early type of person. Now, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't think it was just her concert from start to finish. It was as if you went to one of her concerts. And I guess I was mentally prepared for it to be three and a half hours long or however long it was, but I guess I was expecting more. I was expecting more like a documentary type of movie, kind of like the Hannah Montana one or the Katy Perry one, which, fun fact, I went to go see the Katy Perry concert movie. Again, I don't know what the name of the movies are, but it's where she was giving her, you'd see interviews of her family and stuff like that. Well, I went with my cousin and my two sisters when it premiered, and we went to the theater that's at the Grove, which is in California. And we actually were in the same showing as Katy Perry's parents. So I do have a picture with me, my cousin, my two sisters with Katy Perry's parents, which is pretty cool, floating around there somewhere on MySpace or Facebook or whatever. But that movie I definitely loved because she showed her vulnerable side, especially because she was going through that, like, I guess during her tour, she was going through that divorce with Russell Guy. And so she opened up about that. And when she sang that song that she had originally written about him or whatever, or written inspired by him or something like that, like her tears and everything, like I felt that, but like the Taylor Swift concert, it was cool. Like it was legit just the concert itself. I wanted to see what it took to do the concert, kind of like the Michael Jackson one where you saw backstage their choreography, their practices, their blood, sweat, and tears going into the concert. Like I wanted to see that side. Like no shade or no, not putting her down, Taylor Swift, at all. Like she's an amazing performer. Like I mentioned, I didn't realize how, like, me and homegirl are like same age. I think she's a couple months younger than me, to be honest, but we're like practically the same age. And I was thinking to myself, like, damn, this girl can get it like nonstop without getting tired. And here I am, like running out of air, just walking from point A to point B sometimes. So to see her in action and see her like that was just amazing. During the concert, obviously, you saw those TikTok videos, those clips on Instagram or whatever, where in the theater, there's Swifties like dancing, singing along, and everything, getting all hyped to it, right? Which is amazing. When we were watching it, like my little sister was sitting to my left, and I remember her like singing her heart out basically just to every song. And I was thinking, like, was there ever a concert I've been to that legit is like where I could sing every song the way my sister was jamming out to Taylor Swift? Is there a concert I've been to where I was literally rocking out? So then it made me think of all the concerts I've been to, right? So the first concert I've ever been to was NSYNC. Yes, I'm an NSYNC girl. Backstreet Boys, give them kudos for their voices, but honestly, NSYNC was where it's at. They were great performers. The first concert I went to was the NSYNC No Strings Attached concert tour. And I was in fifth grade, and my best friend at the time, whose name was Megan, her parents and her had me join along with them to go and watch NSYNC with them at the Rose Bowl. I honestly remember the traffic to get into it and everything. The traffic was insane to go to the concert and everything. It was back during the era where like Kiss FM was a huge thing with the Wango Tango and all their artists that they would bring. But this concert, the No Strings Attached concert, it was my first ever concert. I was in fifth grade. The opener was Cisco along with Pink, which was, they were amazing. And there I was with two buns looking like that girl from Star Wars, who I don't know her name because honestly, I haven't seen a Star Wars movie. Don't come for me. Two buns in my hair, and then we ended up putting like NSYNC tattoos all over our face and like an NSYNC shirt, and we were all like fangirling over the fact that we were going to see NSYNC. We had nosebleeds all the way to the top, and it was so fun to sing along. But there I was, fifth grade me, singing to the thong song when Cisco came out to perform it, which was, people were probably looking at us like we were crazy because here's two little girls all, geeked out over NSYNC singing the thong song by Cisco, who was a good performer as well. But that NSYNC concert was amazing. They put on a performance. I have to admit, my taste in men wasn't very good at a young age because I ended up loving Lance Bass, who you all know is happily married to a man. So there's definitely no chance for me and him. Obviously, I found my one, the fiance, but goes to show at a young age I couldn't choose guys that wanted me, that would want me. We sang to every song. My best friend had tears coming down in her eyes because she was so excited. But then I thought, like, I don't think I was that much die hard for NSYNC. Like, I sang all their songs. I was dancing to the beat of all their music, all their songs, their performance. I enjoyed it so much, but I didn't cry. Maybe back then I knew I wasn't crying. Even now, I get a phone call, people could cry on the phone with me, and I empathize with them and stuff, but I cannot. It takes a lot for me to cry, which I've said this in the past. Moving on to the next concert I've been to, because NSYNC was amazing. If they do a reunion tour, I'll probably use my honeymoon fund for that. Just kidding, kind of, not really. My next couple concerts were in San Diego. Actually, I lied. So when I was like a teenager, one of my cousins, her boyfriend at the time was in a car club, and the car dub shows that were pretty huge in California. It was basically a huge car show, and they had artists come and perform. And I remember seeing What's Left of Bone Thugs and Harmony perform, which was pretty cool. And that's all I remember from that dub show that I went to in Los Angeles. But when I was going to school in San Diego and living in San Diego at the convention center, in the San Diego Convention Center, there was another dub show, which is a custom car show. Me and a couple of friends took the trolley down to the convention center from campus to go to the dub show. We ended up showing up. Of course, the cars were beautiful. This was back in MySpace era, so all my pictures are somewhere on my MySpace profile. If I remember how to get into it, then maybe I'll show you all. But it was super amazing cars that were custom built, kind of like the cars you, not as intense as the cars you see on Pimp My Ride back in the day, that show with Exhibit on MTV, but definitely like the details of these custom cars were just amazing. One car that sticks out is like this orange, like nice paint job type of car that was like with hydraulics and everything. It was amazing. And it's because orange is my favorite color. But going back to the concert part, in that San Diego dub show, the artists that were performing were several artists. One was Danity Kane. Danity Kane was a girl group from, I believe, that show Making the Band, right? They were successful up until they had like a fallout. Me, I don't know any of the drama or anything, but it's funny because at that performance they had in San Diego, that girl, the one that like Audrey, is it Audrey or Aubrey? I don't know. Here I am name dropping. That one girl, Aubrey O'Day, who was in Danity Kane, the performance felt like there was tension because she was holding her dog. I don't even know what type of dog it was. She was holding her dog and she was like on one side of the stage while the group of girls were all performing on the other side of the stage. So you could see there was a disconnection. And this was before their band actually made the announcement that they were breaking up. So, but I kind of felt it in a sense because of the way they like I don't know, their body language and stuff like that was. So that was crazy to look back on, knowing that something was up, having a sense of like an inkling feeling something was up, and then it come out that they were, ending the Danny Kane or whatever. But also there was Little Scrappy, who he is so handsome in person. He has like, I was looking at him in awe because his face was like flawless. Like I was thinking to myself, like, what does this guy use for skin? What's his skincare routine? Because honestly, he had like this baby face in real life. Like you think like Photoshop and everything when they're on their album covers and stuff, but Little Scrappy, his face was flawless. Like it looked like it was soft to the touch, like softer than baby's bottom. Honestly, it was just like this flawless looking, like he had a filter on. He was a good performer. Another artist that was there was Rick Ross. His performance was more just him rapping, obviously. Another artist that came out was T-Pain. And this was back before, I want to say this was back before he had like his own solo album where he was working on the release of his solo album. So he put on a performance. Like he was so amazing. And his voice, it wasn't just the T-Pain you hear on the rap songs. Like he showed his acapella voice, which was amazing. And I like fell in love with him as an artist at that performance. I wasn't a huge T-Pain fan before that performance that he did in San Diego, but after that performance and the way he pumped the audience up and like even with his snippets of songs where he was featured in and the way he performed it, like he owned that performance. I fell in love with T-Pain after and his like him as an artist after that performance. And it's funny because not just recently, it's what like a couple seasons ago, he came out in The Masked Singer, and I remember hearing his voice and saying that's T-Pain. Like I recognized it right away because of that concert that I had went to in San Diego where he did sing. Another concert that I went to in San Diego, was the T.I. farewell concert back when he was like found guilty. I forgot of what, and he was going to spend time in jail. And so he did a last farewell tour or whatever. Now, that T.I. concert, T.I. was the shit for me. I was so in love with like him and his music, and I thought he was so handsome and everything. I was super excited. I had bought tickets to go see him, and it was actually a birthday gift to my then boyfriend at the time. It was like in a smaller arena, not at the convention center or anything. But before I move on to this concert, at the dub show in the convention center, the girl from the Proud Family, Kyla Pratt, she was actually at the San Diego Convention Center for the Dub Custom Car Show. And I bumped into her in the restroom and I was washing my hands and she came out of the stall and she was washing her hands next to me. And I like did a double take and I was like, is that her? Or is it not? And I was kind of too shy to like ask for a picture or anything. And I went outside and I was like, that couldn't be her, was it? And when I turned around, I saw her coming out of the restroom and another like little girl ran up to her to take a picture. And I was like, okay, yeah, I was right. It was her. But at that time, I didn't want to bother with her. But she is so pretty in person, let me tell you. Now, going back to the T.I. concert, we stood in line for what seemed like forever to get into the venue. And once we got into the venue, there was like a show start time. I forgot the exact time, but let's say it was at 8. Homeboy didn't come out till like 2 hours later. By then, I was tired. I was grumpy. I was hungry. I was like so disappointed in T.I. because he was the way I see T-Pain now is where like, oh my God, he's such an amazing performer. I love him, everything about him, blah, blah, blah. That's how I was with T.I. Granted, I still have mad respect for the dude. I've listened to his podcast that he has, and he's just so real. But as a performer, at least for that concert, I was so disappointed because he ended up coming out in just a regular tee, short pants, which whatever, wardrobe, whatever, with groupies in the background, just rapping. Like it was as if I could have got the same feeling I did just bumping up his music in my car, like it didn't make sense. What was entertaining was seeing my then boyfriend jamming out and like singing along or rapping along to the songs or whatever. I didn't like the faces I would get after. Because I mean, at that time, the boyfriend at the time was African American. So him being with, a Latina in San Diego in a concert like that, the girls, it's not the first, not the last type of looks we would get because we were together, and it was as if we were mismatched. Which by all means, we're no longer together or anything, but me and the now fiance are happily together, and it's something we need. It's something we do think about. It's something that we know not everybody will be as accepting as our families are when we're seen out together in public, which is for a whole other different topic episode, whatever. But but that concert itself was very disappointing. On the way out, there was a guy selling bootleg concert shirts, and I remember asking for one. So my then boyfriend did buy me one that it had T.I.'s face in the front and it said T.I. And then in the back, I think it said farewell T.I. in huge font or whatever. And I wore that shirt like all the time to the gym and stuff, just to show I went to see him in person, which he was honestly shorter than I expected, which I could have, I mean, 5'9", 69 inches to be exact. So I'm pretty tall for a female. But it still surprises me when I see, because the average height is probably like what, 5'5" maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's the average height because I feel like everybody that's shorter than me is around that height. But yeah, I feel like he was definitely shorter than what I expected. I guess I never thought to look up his height or whatever. That was one for the books. I've been to a Banda MS concert with my parents. They're actually great performers. They really get the crowd going and everything. Their music, their lyrics, their everything. That was such a great show itself. But That concert was actually set to go to in April of 2020. I had gifted my parents two tickets and I had bought myself a ticket to tag along with them. And I remember it was going to be in 2020 because they, around my birthday, but they ended up having to postpone it because of COVID, because that's the year COVID hit. Then they postponed it till November, and then they postponed it again till the following year or something like that. We finally were able to go, and the anticipation to that concert was legit so real, but it was so awesome for it to be my first concert post COVID to go see them. It was definitely amazing. Definitely performers. They had the crowd going, it was just, it was a good type of concert where you were able to enjoy hearing them sing, because let me tell you, a couple years before that, I went to it was like a throwback concert. Vanilla Ice was performing, Coolio was performing, Gangster's Paradise, Rip, Rob Bass was there, Salt and Pepper were there, Color Me Bad was there, singing their I Wanna Sex You Up. The Sugar Hill Gang were there, and their performance was so amazing. And I know Rapper's Delight. Shout out to my mom because my mom be really thugging it when she be rapping to Rapper's Delight. She knows the whole song and she would like rock out to it when I was growing up. So I kind of know the lyrics because of her. And that throwback concert was legit. Like their performance was super great. The only thing is I I feel like I'm such like an asshole, but it was like we came to see them perform, we came to see them sing, but every little while they'd like stop and be like, "Let me hear y'all sing," and it was just like that's why I had to make a point to say that like with Banda MS, I was able to hear them sing their own songs, like they weren't so like pointing the mic to the audience every now and then, like no, they sang their songs, which was awesome. And so this throwback concert with all these old like artists back in the 80s, early 90s type of thing, which like I'm an old soul. I love that type of music too. Every little while they'd be like pointing the mic to the audience for the audience. And obviously we all know these songs. These songs have been out forever, But at the same time, it's like I didn't pay to come see us sing your songs. Like I came to see you guys sing them. Overall, that concert was amazing. It landed on my birthday, and it was right here at the Don Haskins Center, which is in El Paso. So the parking garage was a nightmare to get out of. So what we ended up doing, me and my three friends that ended up going, we ended up crossing the street to go to a bar while to wait for the traffic to cool down. While we were there, we were having some drinks in the patio, which faces the parking garage, the concert venue, and the main street, right? And we were there having drinks, and I see like these two guys walking the street, and I see one of them, and it looked like Coolio, and I was like, I was telling like I wasn't driving, so obviously I was getting it in with the drink. And I turned to my friend and I was like, "Is that?" And then people start saying hi to him and saying what's up and all this, calling his name and stuff, and then he turns. So then I was like, "That is him." So I jumped out where I was sitting, grabbed my phone, went to him, and I was like, "Oh my God, I just saw you in concert. You were amazing. Can I take a picture with you?" And he's like, "Sure." So he ended up. I felt bad because after me, it was like a flock of people coming to take pictures with him. I guess nobody had the nerve to go up to ask for a picture until I like ran up to him and was like, "Let me take a picture with you." So I took a picture with him, but I guess I was so hyped and so excited and like kind of like buzzing already that in the picture my eyes look like huge. Like they're pretty big now, or they're pretty big all the time. But in that picture they looked big. Like I have that picture and I'm definitely gonna post this for you all to see. But yeah, he was just walking from the venue to his hotel room like it was nothing. Like no posse, no groupies, no, security, no nothing. Like he was straight gangster just walking the street in the middle of the night on his way to his fucking hotel room, which mad props to him. That concert was pretty amazing. But a recent concert that I went to was just mind blowing, which I wasn't planning on going. I had originally bought tickets for my parents to go, and my dad had to work. So he said, "You know what, just take your mom." And I'm so happy I went. The concert was Los Tigres del Norte, which is a very famous banda that, like, they have. If you go on Netflix, they actually have a special where they go perform for the prisoners, which that I can't think of the name of that Netflix special, but that special brought me to tears. And their lyrics are they're very they're amazing storytellers with their lyrics. Because me, for one, music and the beat is one thing, but the lyrics themselves is a totally different level that I connect to. Like, I definitely hear the lyrics on everything and like see if I could relate to them or like see how meaningful they are. And home, these like their lyrics, their lyrics are honestly, like I said, they're storytellers. Every song of theirs tells a story, you know? So I definitely recommend you checking out their Netflix special where they do perform at a prison, which was heartwarming to see. They actually just recently came back to El Paso because this was like probably like a year or two, maybe a year ago that I saw them like at like paid to go see them at a concert with my mom. They recently came back to El Paso, and there's this casino out here in El Paso called Speaking Rock that they have like free concert series, and they end up bringing artists to come, you know, perform, and it's free to the public as long as you're 21 and over. It's free. Let me tell you, when these guys came to do a free concert there, the line their concert didn't start till like 7 or 8. The line was there since like 3 or 4 to try to get in because it was a free concert to see these legendary artists, you know? And looking at the pictures, they put on a performance the way they did when I went to go see them. They brought out the flocorico dancers. They brought out like their lights. You know, they perform. They are real entertainers, which is amazing. And yeah, you could tell like they're getting old, but they still put on that performance, which is amazing. Speaking of the free concert series that they have, I actually was able to see one of my favorite country artists because I'm very, what is it, versatile, maybe? Is that the word? I am all over the place when it comes to music. My playlist is all over the place. I could be hearing Genevieve Vera in one time and then Lauryn Hill on the way on the other, you know, on the next song, you know. It just ranges. One of my favorite country artists is John Party, and he actually performed for free there at Speaking Rock, and I remember going. That performance, he was amazing. I love all his songs. That was a great concert. Speaking of all these concerts, which I'm so blessed to be able to experience all these concerts and just thinking back on all these musicians, these artists that I was able to see in person, is just like I'm pretty blessed, you know, especially as I got older, I started buying tickets for my parents to go to concerts because them growing up, they were too busy raising us to try to like squeeze in concerts here and there. My parents married at 19. They had me at 20. No, they married at 20, had me at 21, I think, something like that. I don't know, but I should know. But they were young adults when they started their family, when they started their lives together, you know? And my dad, who crossed over when he was a teen, went straight to work. So it wasn't as if he had the free time to go to concerts, which is why I feel so blessed and so happy when I'm able to gift them concert tickets, which I've gifted them to go see Banda MS without me. So when Banda MS came again, obviously I had to go with them because they enjoyed that performance the first time around. So obviously the second time around, I had to go with them. Bought tickets for them to go see Ramon Ayala. I even bought tickets for them to go to a throwback concert where my mom got to see Salt and Pepper and stuff and a bunch of 80s artists. They got to see Marco Antonio Solis, which is the Buki from Los Bukis. They also got to see Pepe Aguilar perform alongside with, and he at that concert, he brought out his daughter who has a beautiful singing voice as well, Angela Aguilar. And that was before she came out with her songs that she did with Kristen Nodal and other artists where she's coming out with a lot of songs that I guess it was his way of introducing her. But yeah, I love being able to do that for my parents. To be honest, I haven't been able to do it this past year because planning a wedding is expensive AF, but I'm sure they understand. But the concerts I have been able to have them go see, like to see how they get ready and how they enjoyed. Like one time I honestly had bought them tickets and I forgot. And then we were sitting at the dining room table and I remember saying like, wait, what's, because it was going to be a surprise for them. And I was like, wait, what's today? And I was like, oh shit, you guys have the Pepe Aguilar concert today. Go, go, go. They had to get ready in like 30 minutes to take off because I had totally, it had slipped my mind, me trying to be all surprised to surprise them and stuff. And I fucking almost ruined the surprise and made them late. But they've had their share of concerts as well. But it got me thinking, is there a concert that I wish I was able to attend where I would know the song from start to finish? And I feel like Selena is a huge one. I've been to a couple of her tribute concerts where females impersonate her and sing along to her songs and stuff. And when I go to those Selena tribute concerts, I'm singing from start to finish every song along with them because I know every song from Selena because she is just an amazing artist. I literally know all her songs. When the series came out and some of her songs that were coming out with the series that nobody had heard of, like I listened to that one. I heard of that one. I know the lyrics to that one, because yeah, I think not I think, I know I'm a huge Selena fan. So I like, again, she died young and, a couple years and Yolanda will be out. I'm going to meet her outside. Just kidding, kind of. But I want to hear from you guys. Shoot me a message, email me, whatever it is. If you know me, text me and let me know what's one of those concerts that you would know you could sing from start to finish all the songs of that artist. So I went on Instagram to ask, what's your favorite concert that you've ever been to? And here are some of the responses. One of the responses is from Manina Isela, who, if you listen to my first episode / trailer of this podcast, you will hear her name in that episode too, because she is the one that dubbed the name of this podcast. She's the one that suggested Rocks with me, which I fell in love with and bam, ran with it. So her favorite concert was Pitbull with Romeo opening. And that Pitbull was very funny and engaging, and his songs were fire. And she got to enjoy it with her daughter because the friend that she was going to take flaked last minute. So her daughter got to go along with her, which I'm sure was an amazing experience. So shout out to my Nina, Isela, and Sammy, and Pitbull, obviously, for putting up a show for them. Now, one of my guests on this show, Vero Estrada, the life coach, you could go back and listen to her episode titled Take Notice Your Lotus, like the lotus flower. Her favorite concert was the Beyonce concert that she saw in Amsterdam back in 2016. Now, Vero is a huge Beyonce fan. She even went to the recent Renaissance tour concert of Beyonce in Atlanta. And shout out to Beyonce because she's also coming out with her own concert film that's going to be releasing, I don't know when, but like, I'm not a huge Beyonce fan, but I like some of her music. Like some of her music puts you in a good mood and such. So that was Vero's favorite concert. Renessa, who was also a guest on this show, her episode titled From Biker Babe to Entrepreneur Baddie, her favorite concert was Erykah Badu, that she did a rain dance and it rained and it was so amazing for her to experience. Now, Renessa also just recently went to the Lauryn Hill concert, which was commemorating the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, the one that I did speak on a little bit. I forgot on what episode, where I was like, that's going to be a badass concert and show. So she was able to go to that as well. But to hear like other people's experiences at concerts is just like super cool because you always have this like you always have this like perception of artists in your head, and then when you're listening to the music, you have like you feel some type of way with them. But then when you go see them in person, it's completely different. Like I said with T.I., I was like, I had him on a pedestal in my head with his music and everything back in the day. And then when I go see him in concert, he just like, he left me hanging because that performance wasn't a performance. It was just him, I guess, doing what he does, rapping. So going back to the beginning, I was inspired to do this episode because of Taylor Swift. Funny to know is that I feel like Taylor needs to know me and my family because we have so many connections to her. I was born the same year she was. My sister was born the same day she was. So it's just like our connections with Taylor Swift definitely run deep, even though I can't say I'm a Swiftie because I don't follow her that much like that. So, with that, I'll honestly be playing a lot of music at my wedding and dancing to it. I'm super excited that it's coming up. I can't say when the next episode of Rocks With Me will be out, but I am hoping I can get at least one or two more by the end of this year and then take a little break because next year I have like guests lined up that I'm super stoked about. And I'm super excited to share with you. Like, it's going to be amazing. And I'm so happy and honored that you guys are all still rocking with me. And for those that have been rocking me since, back in September when I first released my first episode, I appreciate you along with everybody else. But shout out to my, what is it now? Probably like 15 Spotify followers. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget, you could also follow me on YouTube. I do have video episodes on YouTube. Video episodes are available on Spotify, but I've heard mixed reviews about Spotify that sometimes the videos aren't showing. So, a fallback plan for you all is to go watch the YouTube video if you want to see my facial expressions, see my guest expressions, because I don't know about you all, but it hits different when you see like people and then it just feels like you're on a FaceTime call with them. So, go enjoy those past episodes. I hope to bring you more episodes and thank you for always rocking with me. Until next time, bye.